What's up YouTube, how you doing? This is Mr. Tybox123 and in this video I'm going to be bringing you my full review of this, the Samsung Galaxy Mega. Welcome back everybody, and it is time for the full review of the Samsung Galaxy Mega. Now I've been using this thing for about 3 or 4 weeks now. Obviously we had the unboxing that period of time ago, and if you want to watch that I'll leave a link to that in fact down below so you can see the contents of the box, etc. But this is time for the full review, and I've got to say I've got some extremely pleasant things to say about the Galaxy Mega. Once again I have been shocked and surprised by the actual amount that I like a phone of this ridiculous size. Anyway, just before we start the full review guys, just to let you know you can pick this up from affordablemobiles.co.uk for as little as completely free of charge on a £25 per month contract. Or, in fact, the coolest thing about that website is that you can actually choose free products to go with your contract, things like games, consoles, televisions. It's actually a very, very cool place to get your phones, so check them out. I'll leave a link down in the description below. Now, into the actual review itself. Like I say, I've been using this now for quite some time, and really I've got mostly positive things to say about it, but let's start off by going through some of the details. So first up, design and build quality, and this is pretty much identical to its very, very baby brother, the Galaxy S4, which was obviously also recently announced just a few months ago now. It's got pretty much exactly the same back, it's got pretty much exactly the same front, and it's also got a very, very similar bezel, almost exactly the same, running all the way around the outside. And the build quality as such is pretty much the same as the Galaxy S4. Some people love it, some people hate it. The actual build quality itself is not fantastic, but like I say, it does actually last a good period of time without becoming damaged, and in some scenarios almost makes you use it more because you're not so worried about damaging it in the first place. Now, the actual device that sits in between this and the Galaxy S4 was the Galaxy Note 2, its kind of middle little brother, and the Galaxy Note 2 has got quite a different design to the Galaxy Mega 6.3 and also the Galaxy S4. Now, the actual design and build quality, like I say, comes a lot more from the Galaxy S4 than it does from its little brother, the Galaxy Note 2. But probably when we see the Galaxy Note 3 later in the year, which should have a lot higher specs than this particular model, it will probably be of the same design as the S4 and also the Galaxy Mega 6.3 as well. Now let's just take a little bit of a tour around the phone itself. First up, on the top, we have got the 3.5mm headphone jack, along with a noise cancelling microphone and also an IR blaster. As we move around to the right hand side, we've got a little standby or power on off button, and that's the only one on that side. And then as we move our way around to the bottom, we have got a micro USB port, definitely the place where I prefer it rather than the top. And we've also got another microphone. Round on the left hand side we have got the volume up down rocker, and that is just about it for working our way around the phone. As we come to the front, like I say, pretty much identical to the Galaxy S4. We've got the home button, which is a physical button at the bottom, along with those two capacitive buttons as well. Then at the top we've got that 1.9 megapixel front facing camera along with the earpiece. Now as we work our way around to the back, we've got the speaker on the bottom of the phone, just a single mono speaker. Working our way up, we've got the LED flash and then also an 8 megapixel camera. Now in terms of the cameras themselves, like I said, the front facing camera is a 1.9 megapixel camera. It does record at 30 frames per second at full 1080p, as does the much better rear facing camera of 8 megapixel, again capable of recording full 30 frames per second at 1080p as well. Now in terms of the camera quality itself, the front facing camera is fairly good, not quite as good as maybe the iPhone 5, the Galaxy S4 or the HTC One. And the rear facing camera, again, not quite up to the mark of those three, and I believe it's probably the camera from the Galaxy S3. It seems about that quality. But the pictures and video both come out fantastically well, as did the camera on the Galaxy S3. And when you're actually using the Galaxy Mega as a camera, actually framing your picture really does become somewhat of a joy because of that huge, ridiculous 6.3 inch screen. Now, like I say, the camera itself, very good photos, reasonable amount of depth of field, good clarity, good saturation, and actually works very well indeed. The front-facing camera, like I say, quite a bit further behind than some of the best front-facing cameras on the market today, but still very usable. And I've actually found the microphone to be particularly good as well whilst using the video camera. Now, moving on to performance. Now, this particular Galaxy S3 Mega comes with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 400, so nowhere near the top of the range processor that we've seen in the Galaxy S4, for example, and also an Adreno 305 GPU, so again, not quite up there with the top of the range smartphones. Now, this is a dual-core processor, 1.7 GHz, again, not up there with the top smartphones. And then we can either choose between 8 or 16 gigabytes of onboard storage and also 1.5 gigabytes of RAM, which is actually fairly good. Now, the actual real life performance, leaving specs alone, of the Galaxy Mega is very good. If we went back a couple of years, this is much improved on those, but not quite up to the standards of, like I say, the very top level smartphones of today. However, navigating your way around the operating system is completely fine, very snappy, navigating web pages, etc., very snappy. The only issues you'll come up against is when you've got a whole bunch of applications open, and to be honest, much like any TouchWiz based phone from Samsung, whether it be this or even the Galaxy S3 with the higher specs, you do get a certain element of lag when you've got a large number of applications open. But if you keep that list down to a fairly small, manageable size, the everyday performance is very good, and it actually chews up most things as you would like it to. Gaming works absolutely perfectly well on the Galaxy Mega. In fact, it's a fantastic experience with that large 6.3 inch screen. Watching movies, pretty much anything you throw at it does work completely adequately in terms of performance, until, like I say, you've got a whole large number of applications open. So, onto the operating system. It does come with almost the latest. If it was just a few days earlier, it would have been the latest Jelly Bean 4.2.2. Unfortunately, Samsung do put that TouchWiz interface over the top, which for me does seem to make the phone lag when you start actually putting a reasonable amount of load through it. But at the same time, as we know, Samsung add a whole bunch of really quite fantastic features to their TouchWiz interface. So it's pretty much sort of to and fro as to whether you like it or whether you don't. Now, on to probably the most obvious feature of the phone itself, and that is the display. Now, this is an SC LCD display, so it's not one of Samsung's AMOLED displays, but it does work extremely well. This is a very nice screen. I've actually been very impressed with it. The colour quality, the actual vividity of all of the colours that come out of it are all absolutely fantastic. I've had no problems with that whatsoever. The only downside when you're comparing it to the latest phones is that this is only a 1280 by 720p display. So this is only a 720p display, not full HD like you do see on the rest of the kind of high-end devices today, leaving it with a pixel density of about 233, so quite low for a fairly new product that we've got on the market in the kind of higher price group. But at the same time, because this screen is so big, everything is that little bit bigger, so when you're even reading the most tiny of text and actually comparing it to something like a 1080p screen on the Galaxy S4, because that text is just that little bit bigger, it's still very crisp and very easy to read. And in fact, as a media consumption device, this thing is absolutely fantastic. Whether you're reading websites or whether you're reading books, whether you're viewing magazines, or indeed even watching movies or playing games, this really is an absolute joy to use. Obviously because of that huge display, and also because of the quality of the display as well. It is a very good display, albeit not 1080p. To go alongside that, this thing has got a 3200 milliamp hour battery to power that huge screen, and the battery is absolutely fantastic. You can very, very easily get a full day's heavy usage out of the Galaxy Mega, and I've indeed done at least 10 to 12 hours of viewing constant videos on this whilst on travel. So very, very impressive on the battery side, and that's another thing for me that makes me absolutely love the Galaxy Mega 6.3. Also, when you're using the device, because again the screen is just so big, things like typing become extremely easy and extremely simple, and it's very, very nice to type on the Galaxy Mega. And if you turn it around into landscape mode, it's almost like typing on a full-size tablet keyboard. It's very, very nice, very, very easy to use, and overall very, very usable. So anyway guys, just to finish up with my full opinion of the Galaxy Mega, when I got this in, I thought, Jesus, this is going just one step too far in terms of the sizes, but I have actually used this as my main phone for quite some time since I've had it, and I literally cannot put it down. I've absolutely fallen in love with the Galaxy Mega. It's making me look forward so much more to the release of the Galaxy Note 3, and I just think it's an absolutely fantastic phone. If you guys want a great device for media consumption, and also one that has a fantastic battery life that's not quite as expensive as all of the top level premium phones that are out there today, with good performance and a good screen, the Galaxy Mega is definitely a great option. Anyway guys, definitely check out affordablemobiles.co.uk and also buymobiles.net. I found them to have some ridiculous deals, both of those websites, for all kinds of phones, not just this one. Check that out. Also, please do hit that like button for me. It really does help me out, and I will see you all in the next video. See ya.